Hi, this is Dave, Fellow Running Guide. Welcome to another navigation task, and this is another compare map and photo and see if we can identify the features circled on the photograph and pinpoint those on the map. So there is our photograph and there is the map. So let's have a close look at the photograph to start with. And let's look at the features that we're looking at. So we're obviously looking down from a high point onto a long wall running across in front of us. There's a bit of a path. We see there's a runner there just about to cross the wall and go up the path steeply up the other side. And the natural features we can see are we've got this craggy area facing us, and then round the side, around the back, it looks like there's more crags or rocky ground, maybe facing away to our left, so 90 degrees away to the left as we look. The features that I've asked you to identify are one within this red rectangle here, so looks like there's a bit of a depression. We've got these reeds growing in here, and it also looks like there's a bit of a possibly a raised line here, and then we've got this almost like a scoop out of the hillside immediately facing us and adjacent to this rocky ground just to the right as we look at it. If we have a look at the photo without those red lines on it, we might be able to see it a little bit more clearly. So here it looks like we've got this raised area and there's a depression in here and slightly raised on this side, and again we've got this, imagine it as being a scoop out of that hillside as we look. So that's the photograph. Let's have a look on the map. Now we're using the Ordnance Survey 1 to 25,000 scale Explorer map here, and a few things to note. We have got quite a few paths and footpaths and trails and tracks here, so let's not worry too much about the paths, and let's have a look at the shape of the ground. So we were on a high point looking down across a wall and up to another high point. So if we go left to right as we look west to east, well, we've got a bit of a high ground here, but it doesn't drop away and then climb the other side. So if we continue on, we've got another high point along here, and it drops down here and crosses a wall and then up the other side, so it could be that. And then we go along here, we've got another high point here, we see it drops away, crosses a wall and up the other side, so that could be that. There's a wall, but that wall is on the high ground, it's not down below us. Going along, there's nothing else really along there, so we could be here looking down across the wall and up to this side, or we could be here looking down and across the wall and up to there, or vice versa, going the opposite direction. So it's probably one of those. If we have another quick look at the photograph, we can see that we've got the path and then the crags to the left hand side of the path as we look. So it's on the left hand side of this hill that's immediately facing us. So let's see if we can work out that on the map. So let's work from left to right, west to east to start with. If we were on this high ground here looking down across that wall with the path going up the other side, then we've got this craggy ground here, so a crag facing us and these crags facing away to the north, so it could be that would fit. If we were on this side here looking more westwards down and across the wall looking up, then we have got some crag here, but if we were looking across towards the west, that crag would be on the right hand side of the hill facing us and to the right of the path. And we've seen from the photo that it's the opposite round, it's to the left hand side as we look. So we're not looking from here across towards the west, we could be looking the other way around. What about here? Well, we could be looking down and across that, but we've not really got any craggy ground. This craggy area here is much more defined on the map than this bit here, so that doesn't work. And if we were stood here looking down more westwards or southwestwards, then again there's no crag shown there. So are we stood on this point looking slightly north of east onto this area here? So a quick check of the photograph again. We've got steeper ground on the left on the hillside opposite as we look underneath the crags, and then a gentler slope dropping down here. And then if we have a look for those features that we're looking for, immediately ahead of us, this sort of ditch feature here. So let's have a look for that one to start with. I've zoomed in on the map here so I can see things in a bit more detail. So if we were stood here looking down and across to this crag there that's immediately facing us, then what about this feature here with these little hachures, as they're called, there, that indicates like a trench that may have been dug, so that would fit. However, we could look here and look across, and there's also another similar little feature here underneath this hill. So is it that, or is it that we're looking at? Well, if we have a look for the second feature, this scoop out of the hillside, and it's immediately above and to the right of this trench feature that we're looking for, and the path goes up to it and almost through it, and with this rocky feature just to its left as we look at it. So if we were here looking across, there's our crag, there's our ditch or trench, there's the path coming up, and you see here this little kink in the contours, this little backwards C shape there and there, and that would indicate the presence of I'm calling it a scoop in the hillside. If we were here looking across, then that doesn't show on that hill. In fact, that's a little bit of a ridge at the top of that, so those contour lines there don't fit. So looking across over this one is more like it. Some people were suggesting this scoop in the contour here, but that's way off. That's actually facing due south. If we're looking over from here, we wouldn't be able to see that, and it doesn't fit in terms of the closeness or the proximity to the crag that we were looking at as well there. In terms of this little feature here, this man-made feature, go back and have a look at the photograph. And we can see it here crossing the wall. And this is actually a trench or fortification, sometimes known as a fosse. It's Rome. This is very close to Hadrian's wall, so I suspect it's some ancient Roman fortification. So the answer is that the photograph was taken here just on the steepening, just on the eastern edge of this hill here, looking down onto that trench or fortification there, and the higher feature is this subtle change in the contours here, this little scoop with the crag just to the left hand side of it as we looked, and then the crags going round and facing off to the north. So some subtle little features on that one. I hope you got it right or managed to work it out from the explanation. Thanks for watching, and look out for next week's navigation task. Bye for now.